kale. Some people call it a superfood. Other people call it that green stuff that fills the space between the meat and the cheese in their salads. That's kind of the side that I'm on. But whether you think kale just tastes good or you think it will clean the toxins from your body, like some people do, I don't care, but I can teach you today how to save yourself literally tens of cents per year by saving your kale seeds, like so.
Very first thing you need to do if you're going to be saving kale seeds is you need to grow some kale plants. Or, of course, you can befriend another gardener and lure them into a false sense of security, murder them, assume their identity, and take their plants. That works too, though I don't think I recommend it. The next thing that you need to do after you have some mature kale plants is wait until close to the end of the season. And you can feel free to harvest the greens off your plant almost all season long. But in about the last month, you're going to leave the plant alone and let it go to seed. For me, that meant pretty much not touching it throughout September. After the star reaches the end of the season, it's going to develop these pods called seliques, something like that. And these structures on the plant are what hold the seeds. So we're going to go ahead and either just pull off or cut off these seliques from the plants. Now, the right time to do this is after the plant starts to dry out. The seliques and the branches are going to start to turn brown. You don't want to wait so long that they dry out and fall off, but you don't want to pick them so early that they're still green, because that's going to mean, number one, that your seeds aren't mature enough to create a new plant yet, but it's also going to make it a lot harder to separate the pods from the seeds later. The next step is to smash up the pods that we've collected. Go ahead and find a sheet or a pillowcase or a cloth and spread the seeds across the center of that cloth and then fold it over in half. The next step is to go ahead and smash up the pods we just placed into the cloth. Now, there's a whole bunch of different ways that you can do this. I opted to use a full wine bottle like a rolling pin, and I only did that because I couldn't find any of the 3 freaking rolling pins that we actually own. So I had to get creative. Now, you can use a rolling pin, you can use a bottle, you can even put the cloth on the floor and just walk across it for a couple of minutes, and that will probably get the job done. You basically want to keep this up until all of the pods are smashed up and you can see the seeds starting to come out of them. The next step is going to be to transfer the smashed up pods to a bowl. This is pretty easy. Just keep the cloth folded in half like you should already have it, and just hold it over the bowl and shake it so the smashed up pods and seeds and whatever just kind of fall out at the corner right into the bowl. Now it's time to separate the seeds from the chaff. Now the chaff is basically the remainder of the plant that's in the bowl. It's the part that the seeds were contained in before we smashed it all up. The way that we're going to do this is a process called winnowing, which basically uses a little bit of air to make the parts that we don't want kind of glide out of the bowl. So the way we're going to do this is we're going to get the contents of the bowl rotating, basically by flicking our wrist with the bowl in hand. And you're going to start to notice the contents of the bowl starts to spin around, and the bigger parts start to kind of rise up on the edges of the bowl. Now, as we're doing this, we're going to apply a little bit of air by just sort of breathing towards the bowl. And we're going to start doing this lighter, and we're going to increase our breath on the bowl as needed to get the larger parts to catch the wind and float away. So that is basically it. After a couple of minutes of winnowing your seeds, you should have all the chaff pretty much removed from the bowl. You can pick out whatever's left. All right, well, I hope you found this interesting and informative. If you did, I hope you'll subscribe and check out my other videos. I've got lots of other videos about gardening and self-sufficiency stuff, woodworking, yada, yada, yada. It's all fun. All right, I'll catch you later.